Hello and welcome to From Impossible to Inevitable. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for pushing play today and for joining me on this episode. If you're listening on a podcast platform, you have the opportunity to watch the YouTube version with the link in the show notes. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can always tune in on your favorite podcast platform. Whatever is easiest for you, I hope I've got you covered. When this episode airs, it will be December 1st. And this is one of my very favorite times of year because I feel like I can really take the time and the opportunity to look at the upcoming year and decide the tone of the year. I can set my intentions. I can look at that fresh year and feel into the possibilities and really decide how I want to approach the year, who I want to become in the year, what I want to do for myself, as well as in my work and with my kids and with Jake and with our family, and how I want this year to go. And it feels just like a fresh blank page, and I can make of it whatever I want to make of it. Now, that's not to say that there won't be unexpected surprises and spontaneity. This is not to say there won't be any of that, because there most certainly will be. However, I still get to decide right now how I want the year to go, and that will help me approach it in a way that I want to approach it, so that I've got a better chance of getting what I want to do done out of it. Because if you don't have any idea when the year starts, the year's just going to keep flowing and it will just take its course and you'll just be along for the ride instead of being the captain of your ship and guiding it even in rough waters. So I have 5 things I want you to consider as you think about this new year. 5 things I want you to consider and do and spend some time on. The first is to close your tabs. Maybe for you, that means actually closing tabs on your computer. I know that's it for me. Also, I want you to close your mental tabs. I'm sure there are things that you wanted to do this year, that you wanted to get done, that now that it's December, the chances of you getting it done are not high. Or maybe there's no chance of you getting it done. And that's okay. That's truly okay. I want you to give yourself the permission to close the tab. If you feel like, okay, I wanted to do this and it didn't happen, and I don't think I want to do this anymore, that's fine. Let it go, close the tab, move on. Close any of those mental tabs that you had open of things that you wanted to do, didn't just get done, and that's okay. Also, go around your space and close tabs. There are probably piles of things you wanted to do or things you never got to or whatever. If it doesn't resonate, if it's something you no longer want, just get rid of it. Close the tab, close it out, remove as much of that from your mental space and your physical space as you can so that you can really feel like you're starting with a fresh, clean slate for the new year, physically and mentally. The second one is to zoom out. Look at the year in its entirety. And there's so much possibility there. And yes, this can also feel kind of overwhelming. However, look at the entire year, and this meshes into number 3, but I want you to really look at the year in its entirety and feel into all of that possibility. Zoom out. Don't just think about what needs to be done in, January, or maybe you've got a big work thing in September, or maybe whatever. Zoom out and feel into the entire year. There are going to be busy parts of the year and slow parts of the year. And so it doesn't all have to feel overwhelmed. Zoom out and feel into all of that possibility. The third one is to get things out on paper. As you zoom out, maybe what you do is you print out a full calendar on one 8.5 by 11, so the full year on one sheet of paper, and you look at what that looks like for you. So I just did this morning, and this is kind of what my year looks like. If you're on YouTube, you can see what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, because I'm showing you. If you're on a podcast platform, I will do my best to describe what I've got here. So I have the full year on one 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And I started by highlighting all of the major birthdays in my family and in my life. And then I went to school breaks and I made a little rectangle around all the school breaks. And then I went through and I noted the end of the school year and the start of the school year and major work days for Jake. And I went through the calendar and I got all of that out so I can see it. I zoomed way out and I got it on paper so I can see, okay, this is when spring break is. Okay, this is what summer break looks like for us. Okay, these are the important days that I need to have on my radar as I think about my year. As you also get things out on paper, think about the things that you want to do. Maybe you want to read more books. How many of those books do you already know you want to read? Can you write all of those down? Maybe you've got house projects. Can you write all of those down? Maybe you want to start some habits. What are the habits you're thinking of starting? What are the habits you're thinking of ending? Get all of these out on paper, and maybe it'll feel good to have a note card for each one of like each category and write down your ideas out on paper. And maybe you don't end up pursuing all of these things. That's okay. Getting it out of your head and onto paper will give you the ability to see all of these things that you want and be able to evaluate what's actually the most important. So maybe it would be fun to do all of these house projects, but when you look at when you zoom out and look at your calendar, you realize, well, maybe I only have space to do a couple. Maybe I'll just prioritize these two and instead focus on reading a book a month and getting these two house projects done because of what my year looks like. Just get these ideas out on paper and then you can evaluate it. Okay? As you're getting these things out on paper, this is extremely important. Listen to your heart's desire. Listen to what is really calling to you. Listen to what your heart is telling you. This is really important to me because I'm sure it's really important to you. If your heart really wants it, listen to that. Prioritize those things that are truly, truly calling to you. Because at the end of your year, decade, life, those are the things that you're going to wish you had pursued. Those are the things you're going to wish you had done. You're not going to look back and be like, yes, I made this goal to vacuum the entire house twice a week and I did it. However, I never wrote that book I wanted to write. I mean, come on. The things that are really calling to you, those are important for you to do. Listen to that heart's desire and prioritize those things for your year. Your year's going to go by whether or not you vacuum your house every Tuesday and Thursday, or every Tuesday, or not at all. I recommend you vacuum your house. However, that's not going to stand out at the end of your life. What's going to stand out are these heart's desires. What's going to stand out are paying attention to what's actually calling to your soul and giving that time and space so that you can pursue that. Pay attention to that. It's really important. The last tip I have for you is to start right now. If there's a habit you want to start, don't wait for January. Start right now. Just decide that this is important to you and do it. Get out a calendar or print out a calendar. This one was really easy. I got it off of timeanddate.com. I knew part of me as a designer, I was like, I can create my own perfect calendar and it'll be beautiful and it'll be just everything that I want. And I decided, for the sake of time, that it was more important to just print one off from somewhere and get all of these things out on paper than it was for me to spend the hours it would take for me to design the most beautiful, most perfect calendar. And maybe I put that into next year as designing a calendar for you and for me that I would love to use and that you might really like to use. That day wasn't today. I didn't plan on that today. And so printing off a calendar from timeanddate.com worked just fine. And it's serving its purpose, whether or not it's the perfect, most beautiful calendar ever. The point is, start right now. One of the best pieces of advice I have ever received for having the best year ever is to start in December. If you want to have the best year ever, have the best December ever. Because starting January, you're not just starting, you will have momentum to carry you forward into the new year. I am doing this currently is way more powerful than I'm going to. So as you start right now, you're setting yourself up for a great year because you're already in motion. You already have momentum. So take the time today to zoom out, to get things on paper, to start closing tabs, and to just start moving forward. And it will be the best year ever. I am excited for the new year. I am excited that as of right now, I am 4 podcast recording sessions away from having recorded a podcast and sketched and had it released, that's the word, every single week for an entire year. To me, that feels bananas. When I started this project, I could hardly even just imagine having, 2 months worth of podcasts done. And now I am just 4 podcasts away from having done this all year long. That is a huge accomplishment for me, and I'm really excited about it. And I did just start in January. However, I would have had more momentum behind me if I had started last December. I've got the podcast momentum now. We're rolling, we're doing it, and it will just continue to roll. So that's what I want for you this month, is to get that momentum to have the best year ever in 2024. Thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you and all of your likes and comments and all of the love that you send to me. And I will see you next week. Bye for now.